We apologize for the audio challenge we are facing in Sokoto. Meanwhile, the panorama continues from here in Abuja. President Muhammadu Buhari meets Qatari President business delegation top the agenda. Foreign private investment as federal government targets self-sufficiency in food production and consumption. Rescue operations intensify in Yobe for abducted Dapchi school girls. These and more on Panorama on the network service of the NTA. I am Bintu Aliyu Sumon. The federal government has described as reassuring the significant rising in foreign private investment in Nigeria owing to the success of its robust economic agenda. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this at a meeting with the visiting Qatari business delegation led by Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani. State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the report.
President Muhammadu Buhari said the promising economic agenda of the federal government designed to stop Nigeria from over-reliance on crude oil food has in the past 2 years succeeded in turning the country into one of the most attractive investment destinations in Africa. He said with fertile land, young and energetic population, as well as strong legal and regulatory system that protects capital investments, Nigeria can only be greater. The president emphasized that apart from exiting its worst economic recession in more than 2 decades, winning the war against corruption, and significantly addressing the infrastructure deficit, the country has more than doubled its foreign reserve, and with massive growth in the non-oil sector, thousands of jobs have been created nationwide. Citing the strategic partnership between Morocco and Nigerian fertilizer companies as part of the success stories, President Buhari said today the country has over 13 functional fertilizer blending plants with another 4 in the pipeline. The president said in 2017 alone, Nigeria witnessed significant commitments and agreements by major global organizations in infrastructure projects. These include the $9 billion Dangote refinery and petrochemical complex in Lagos, $600 million Lafarge plant in Calabar, $1.3 billion public-private partnership with General Electric on rail track development, as well as the proposed any urgent rehabilitation of the Port Harcourt refinery. As he puts it, you can see clearly that foreign private companies are coming back to Nigeria and making massive investments within our existing legal and regulatory frameworks. Leader of the Qatari business delegation, Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, said the global opinion on Nigeria as an investment destination of choice was made possible by President Muhammadu Buhari's strong standing against corruption and adherence to the rule of law. He expressed his delegation's with Nigeria's oil and gas, railway, aviation, and power sectors. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari says the era of agricultural products depleting the nation's foreign reserve through high inputs will soon be over as the federal government is targeting a regime of self-sufficiency in food production and consumption. The president stated this while receiving letters of credence from 3 new envoys posted to Nigeria. State House correspondent Adam Sambo once again has the details.
The 3 new envoys that have now formally assumed duty in Nigeria include Lim Sing Seng, High Commissioner of the Republic of Singapore, Mrs. Shirley Hu Vicaria, the Ambassador of the Republic of Philippines, as well as Nelson Ochega, the High Commissioner of the Republic of Uganda. At an interactive session with the envoys separately, President Muhammadu Buhari said with growing investments in the agricultural sector, favorable weather, and collective will of Nigerians to start feeding themselves, importation of food has been cut down radically and significantly. He described the agricultural sector as integral to the nation's economic blueprint for diversification in line with the change agenda. The president said, "It is pleasing that Singapore is also looking at agriculture as one of his investments in the sector was recently inaugurated by him in Kaduna. The bilateral relations between Nigeria and Singapore, he promised, will be further strengthened. This, he said, is necessary so that both countries can enjoy the benefits of competitive advantage, especially in exchange of ideas and technology that will enhance growth and improvement in the livelihood of their citizens. The High Commissioner of Singapore to Nigeria, Mr. Lim Sing Seng, said with Nigeria as a big brother of Africa, investment in the country will result in highly beneficial growth for the entire continent. Singapore, he said, could go into partnership with Nigeria in exchange of technical skills as well as training of entrepreneurs and public servants. All the new envoys were earlier treated to a colorful and befitting diplomatic welcome on arrival put together by officers and soldiers of the Presidential Guards Brigade. Nigeria assures the envoys of cooperation and collaboration with their countries on economic, security, and other mutually beneficial diplomatic issues. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
We are going back now to Sokoto as Asmao takes over from here.
Good afternoon and welcome to Sokoto. The federal government has described as welcoming and reassuring the significant rise in foreign private investment in Nigeria owing to the success of its robust economic agenda. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this at a meeting with the visiting Qatari business delegation led by Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Athani. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the report.
Out of the street, revive the ailing industries of the region such as New Nigerian newspapers, NNDC, as well as Arrow Textiles.
We are all products of the public school system, and posterity will judge us harshly if we allow the public school system to collapse.
The forum was also presented with an interim report of its Committee on Restructuring, which is to achieve the position of the region. On the abducted Dapchi school girls, the governor sympathized with the families and applauded the effort being made by the federal government to rescue the victims. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari says era of agricultural products depleting the nation's foreign reserve through high import bills is soon to become history, as the federal government is targeting a regime of self-sufficiency in food production and consumption. The president stated this while receiving letters of credence from 3 new envoys posted to Nigeria. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the details.
Sector, favorable weather, and collective will of Nigerians to start feeding themselves, importation of food has been cut down radically and significantly. He described the agricultural sector as integral to the nation's economic blueprint for diversification in line with the change agenda. The president said it is pleasing that Singapore is also looking at agriculture as one of his investments in the sector was recently inaugurated by him in Kaduna. The bilateral relations between Nigeria and Singapore, he promised, will be further strengthened. This, he said, is necessary so that both countries can enjoy the benefits of competitive advantage, especially in exchange of ideas and technology that will enhance growth and improvement in the livelihood of their citizens. The High Commissioner of Singapore to Nigeria, Mr. Lim Sing Seng, said with Nigeria as a big brother of Africa, any investment in the country will result in a highly beneficial growth for the entire continent. Singapore, he said, could go into partnership with Nigeria in exchange of technical skills as well as training of entrepreneurs and public servants. All the new envoys were earlier treated careful and befitting diplomatic welcome on arrival put together by officers and soldiers of the Presidential Guards Brigade. Nigeria assures the envoys of cooperation and collaboration with their countries on economic, security, and other mutually beneficial diplomatic issues. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And now to our discussion segment. Sokoto State was one of the worst hit states in the north by cerebrospinal meningitis, leading to death of many. Cerebrospinal meningitis is an infection that spread fast during the heat season. What are the preparations by the state to prevent a reoccurrence? For answers to this and more, we have in the studios Dr. Aminu Shehu, Director of Public Health, State Ministry of Health. Doctor, you are welcome to the show. Doctor, we want you to remind us.
Well, cerebrospinal meningitis basically is an inflammation of the meninges of the brain and the spinal cord. As the name implies, that is the swelling in the lay terms of the meninges in the brain and the spinal cord. Cerebrospinal meningitis could be caused by so many agents in the human body. This could be due to viruses, bacteria, and even fungi. The meningitis in Nigeria itself as a whole, and so many other West African countries, Central African countries, and also the East African countries, lies within what we call the meningitis belt. It's a region whereby the outbreaks of meningitis usually occur from year to year, but meningitis as a disease occurs throughout the year, but these outbreaks occur usually between November and June of the following year.
So, Doctor, can you tell us what are the major causes of cerebrospinal meningitis?
Well, the major causes of cerebrospinal meningitis, as I said earlier, include bacteria, which could be Neisseria meningitidis, Streptococcus, and other bacteria, and also viruses, and also fungus, which can also cause meningitis.
Okay. So what are the symptoms of cerebrospinal
meningitis? The symptoms of cerebrospinal meningitis include fever, headache, neck stiffness, weakness, photophobia, that is the patient will be shunning away from light, and also loss of appetite. Symptoms could mimic almost any other disease.
Doctor, Sokoto State recorded a large number of deaths as a result of CSM, that is meningitis, last year. So how prepared is the state to prevent a similar situation this year?
Well, the state is fully prepared for this meningitis season, if you can call it. And in so doing, the state has pre-positioned drugs for the treatment of cases. We have improved surveillance program throughout the state, whereby victims are identified immediately and taken to the center, whereby we take the sample to confirm if it is meningitis and immediately start treating the patient. I think the state has done remarkably very well. As you could see now, the other neighboring states and even neighboring Niger Republic are having a high number of cases. But in Sokoto State here, so far we have 8 confirmed cases as at yesterday that were tested and confirmed in the laboratories.
Okay. So, Doctor, what is the best time to commence vaccination against meningitis?
Well, you see, the meningitis vaccine is not as easy as one might think.
Okay.
Because especially during outbreaks, the serotype, that is the kind of bacteria, has to be isolated in the laboratory or identified, and then for the same vaccine to be given for that the populace. For example, in 2012, we had a massive campaign using what we call type A vaccine throughout the state. And since then, the type A cases have reduced. Last year, what we had mostly were type C vaccines. And so you see the disease and the vaccine must match. So it's not something that once you have the outbreak, you quickly go and deploy the vaccine. It may not be very useful. And also the obtaining of the vaccine has a lot of intricacies with the international coordinating group and World Health Organization, the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control. All these are interplaying factors for you to access the vaccines. But Sokoto State has made adequate arrangement and preparation for vaccination whenever the need arises.
Okay. So, doctor, how easily available and meningitis treatment?
Well, meningitis treatment in Sokoto State is free. The government has obtained all the necessary drugs, and also in collaboration with other developmental partners, have pre-positioned drugs in the senatorial zones and also in all the general hospitals and the specialist hospital and all other major hospitals across the state, whereby as soon as patient is identified with that disease, you will commence treatment at no cost to the patient.
Okay. Yes. So can you talk about some preventive measures?
Well, preventive measures, you see, this meningitis is an airborne disease. So I think the best preventive measures, one, the state is embarking on massive awareness campaign through media and dialogues, community dialogues and other means of communication. And also, the people should be enlightened to stay in well-ventilated rooms and also keep the environment clean and personal hygiene, and also cover your mouth during cough and sneezing. These are the ways in which the viruses or bacteria are being transmitted. So personal hygiene is very important, and also the awareness, good ventilation in the rooms. These are all measures that we are taking to make sure that the public is well enlightened to prevent this menace.
Okay. Lastly, doctor, what advice do you have for the general public regarding meningitis?
Well, the advice we have for the general public basically is for personal hygiene, good, well-aerated, ventilated, and also whenever you see a patient, relation, or friends with symptoms that we have mentioned earlier, that include fever, headache, neck stiffness, loss of appetite, photophobia, should be referred immediately to the hospital. Okay. Treatment in Sokoto State are free, and also the testing is free. Okay. Yes.
So we thank you so much, doctor, for having the time to come.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have been talking with Dr. Aminu Shehu, Director of Public Health, State Ministry of Health, on cerebrospinal meningitis. Building trust, communication, and collaboration between security agencies and the communities have been described as key to the promotion of peace and security in any nation. This was what dominated discussion at a roundtable meeting on improvement of relationship between security agencies and citizens held in Sokoto. Sheikh Muhammad Dati completes the report.
The roundtable meeting is a collaborative effort of National Orientation Agency. Participants at the meeting were drawn from the security traditional rulers, non-governmental organizations, civil society organizations, as well as representatives of religious and women groups. The idea is to support the security sector reforms through dialogue, information, and experience sharing between security agencies and the citizens. The meeting focused on security agencies' relationship with citizens, challenges, and the way forward. In a paper presentation, How to Enhance Cordial Relationship Between the Citizens and the Security Agencies, Director of Political, Civil, Ethics, and Values, National Orientation Agency, Mrs. Ngozi Ekioba, dwelled extensively on issues needing urgent attention. She highlighted the intention of the meeting to solidify the network of government and non-governmental actors working towards a stronger and secured nation.
As much as the security agents have matters to look into, are not free of bad behaviors, which which are not encouraging cordiality.
State Director, National Orientation Agency, Abubakar Modedin Chadi, while commending the effort of security agencies in the country, called on all and sundry to provide security operatives with required efforts to provide effective national security.
We'll make sure that we go around every nook and cranny, making sure that people understood this very important relationship that exists between security agencies and the citizen.
Mr. Uche Umosu of Colonel Adenwa said their organization will continue to partner with the National Orientation Agency and National Assembly Committee on Army with a view to creating a platform for harmonious dialogue to curb security challenges in Nigeria. Sokoto, Sheo Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
In continuation of its public hearing on fourth alteration of the nation's 1999 Constitution, the State House of Assembly Ad hoc Committee has visited Sokoto North Senatorial Zone. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila has more on the story.
Public hearing of the fourth alteration of the 1999 Constitution is on 6 bills that include local government autonomy, independent candidature in elections, removal of force from the Nigerian police force, time frame for presentation of appropriation bill, and condition for assenting bills by the President. 8 local government areas from the zone that include Sokoto South, Wamoko, Sokoto North, Kwari, Silami, Tangaza, Gudu, and Binji all made their submissions to the House. There were also contributions from the Nigeria Union of Teachers, Coalition of Non-Governmental Organizations in Sokoto State, among other stakeholders. Chairman of the House Ad hoc Committee, who is also the Deputy Speaker, Abubakar Magaji, appreciated the efforts of all stakeholders in the zone and assured them of forwarding their submissions to the National Assembly. In Sokoto, Abraham Usman, NTA News.
That's our package on Panorama this afternoon. We thank you so much for staying tuned.